Give a little skin. Welcome back. We're going into the maze. The first thing that happens in any mazes game is that you are stepping into darkness. And because of that, it means that your darkness increases by 1.
Okay.
Always. If these numbers don't make any sense. 6 is the number that we're looking for. I thought I was real clever with this, but too clever for my own good.
Yeah, we've got a ways to go.
Those are our first words in Cavendish. We are too clever for our own good.
What a good banner name.
As the ducal
Clever by half.
As the ducal scion, your primary role here in the Marcher areas is doing missions for your father, right? And I mean, because you're so pretty.
In the face of the house.
And you have a fucking dope ass sword. I forgot about.
Yeah.
You've assembled your companions because there has been sightings of a strange beast that people have claimed is coming from an area outside of the town that generally is where goblins hang out. But the goblins keep telling everybody that there's nothing there, nothing to see here. Move on.
Goblins the worst.
And the place is called Dorgatar. And you've traveled out to the area called Dorgatar, and there is a large ruined gate in this building that used something from the old people, and there are stairs leading into the darkness, and you are walking down the stairs. So, what's your marching order? How are you getting around? How are you moving about? I mean, because it just looks like there's 4 of you, but there's actually 4 of you, a furry pygmy rhino, and some skeletons.
And a bunch of dead people.
No visible skeletons. They are all concealed upon my person in the form of bone plate armor.
Oh,
Nice.
Rad! Like they're just like hanging out, like wrapped around you like armor.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And they fall off and do your bidding.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I like it.
That's pretty cool.
There was a game I played a million years ago where I played a bad dude. He was a bad dude, and he had a skeleton familiar that he just put in knight's armor and told people that he had taken a vow of silence.
That's great.
And then he kept getting accidentally turned by the party's cleric, who then didn't realize, and then it would be like I'd have to go and recreate him. He's like, "Why are my spells not working correctly?" I don't know.
I think that I would probably want to be in front if no one objects.
I certainly don't object.
You're
Cersei,
certainly not going in front.
Cersei takes point. Is your I'm assuming your companion creature is okay with going up and down stairs?
Oh yeah, creature's fine with it.
Yeah.
Like, he does a thing where, like, have you ever seen like corgis try and go up and down stairs?
Yes.
It's a little like that where he has to sort of hop. And if they're real steep, like, I can carry him.
He has to steel himself to, like, approach the stairs. Style.
Like going upstairs is okay because he can kind of like slinky it, right? It's downstairs that's the problem.
Yeah, downstairs is real rough, but big, thick, shaggy coat, so if he falls, he just sort of slides a little bit, and it's totally fine.
That's nice.
All right, so Cersei's taking the front point. Where is your side iron?
Yurt is probably like one in front of wherever Lord Cavendish is.
Yeah.
So
That's perfect because Noxon is right behind Lord Cavendish.
that makes sense. Noxon's in the back, in their bone armor, and it's just a really great. It's a really great image.
Yeah, for sure.
Like Game of Thrones, Lord of Bones style, like with like a bone, the whole 9 yards, and it just like I'm picturing it like falling off and turning into skeletons.
Mm-hmm.
That would make a lot of people really really uncomfortable.
Fear is within my domain, so.
I also have like a mental image of you being like, "Hey, hold this for me," and you just sort of like drop it, and like a hand just pops out and catches it.
Oh, right, yeah, like a General Grievous style. There's like extra arms.
Yeah,
Yeah.
arms just like come up off of my torso and hold things as I'm like busy with. Yeah, it's good. I like that.
It's awesome and horrifying.
Yes.
It's pretty
Terrible. I would not want to meet this person in any situation ever.
Okay. So Cersei, you're the first to enter into the darkness. There is a crisp there's a crisp coldness as you're going down. Normally when you lower into tombs and caverns like this, you expect it to be dry, and this is like cold and wet, right? It's that it's very
Does it smell moldy?
you know what? It definitely smells it doesn't smell stony. It definitely smells more so Yurt, Side Iron, and Cersei. Yurt Cersei because you're a hunter, and Yurt because you have a knowledge of nature.
Yep.
Let's roll books. And I'm sad that as players you guys can't see this, but you'll get to see it on the video stream. You'll get to hear it. So it's the D6 and the D8, right?
Okay. Yep.
All right. The D8 rolled a 1.
I'm super smart.
Yeah, right. You are the elf, so that class actually will trigger. And the books is 2-3. The hunter rolls a 3. So you both succeed. You get a feeling that the smell and the feel isn't as much like mold, but more like water.
Okay.
Right, it's not like growth of something. It's like if you were to go down near a body of water, it's colder.
Yeah, sure. There's probably like a stream or something through here.
I'm pretty sure it's mushroom people.
I hope you all brought dry socks.
Yurt wears no shoes.
Yurt has constant athlete's foot.
Still know
No, my magic keeps my feet dry.
What a waste of power!
But that's what power's for.
Yeah, that's exactly what power's for. I have to maintain my looks and my constantly windswept hair.
Ridiculously meticulous hair. That perfect shore windblown look. And it's like, well, but we need you to save us and remove the poison gas. You're like, I don't have magic for that.
Nope, I have no idea what any of that's about.
I'm out of slots. Sorry.
As you walk down the stairs,
a magical blow dryer.
the stairs come out, and you are in the middle of a long room. There are 5 doorways, or 5 doors all around this central piece. Comes down in the middle. And I'm going to show the people at home a thing. Because I can do that, which is actually kind of really rad. It's the wrong way. Everybody at home is just being like, whoo! We're coming down here into this. into this area right here where the number 1 is. And there are 5 different doors. There's a door on the western wall. There are 2 doors on the northern wall. There are 2 doors on the eastern wall. And you can hear, like the stairs come down and you can see all that, but it's like a central, the stairwell is like literally like stone covered and it comes down to this point. And you can hear some water on the other side of this stairwell. Like the room sounds like it goes back further.
Okay.
So, I feel like we should see what's behind these doors before we make a decision about the direction we want to go.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Just peek through every single one.
Yeah.
Thus it shall be so. It's a very good decision.
Spence,
Yeah.
wait here. We're gonna go check out some doors.
I'll posture.
I will posture.
I'm clad in black because it's the period of mourning for whatever creatures we find in here.
Pre-morning?
There's
In my pre-morning garb?
Preemptive mourning.
there's one creature and he's behind you. Everything else is monsters.
No, it's pronounced creature.
Noxon will put their hand down on Spencer's shoulder and say, "Watch him." And as it pulls away, the gauntlet of the glove comes off and forms into a skeleton that just sits on your shoulder. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm way into it.
Some sort of capuchin monkey skeleton. I love it.
Yeah.
I will
It
posture
could be
with
a monkey skeleton.
The idea that you have gauntlets that are made of monkey skeletons is definitely canon.
Oh yeah. And like I'll turn to creature and I'll be like, that was way cooler than what I was gonna do, but you should watch him too.
All right. So, is creature staying there with Lord Cavendish as well? Then.
Yeah.
Okay. So, as the other 3 of you come around the corner, you see that on the opposite side of the stairwell, there is a large fountain. In the center of the room is a shallow fountain surrounded by carved stones. The water looks surprisingly clear, but the area smells like goblin feces. There are several scraps of tattered cloth and a rusty dagger near the fountain.
As a well-armed hunter, can I recognize who might have carried this dagger? Like, does it look like a goblin dagger?
Oh, yeah. All right, so there's another good time to talk about systems, right? So, one of the things that we're trying to do is get rid of unnecessary rolling, right? You're a hunter. You're also well-armed. So, as such, obviously, you know everything there is to know about these things. So, you would obviously just look at that and be like, oh, that is not a goblin dagger. It's not a dagger of goblin. It's definitely, it's definitely good castle forged steel, because here it is in this this really, really moist environment, and it's the handle that's rusted, not the blade. So.
Okay.
A human was murdered here.
Can't even bother to oil their weapons.
Or just dropped all of his things.
Was somebody murdered here? Can I sense an aura of death in the area?
Yes.
Oh, that's right. You're very smart.
So we're going to make a bones roll. So we're going to roll the d10, and we're going to see if we get a 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, or a 1. We get a 1. Since as a necromancer, obviously your class kicks in there. So, yeah, you know what? There's not the aura that you would expect for there to be, an act of murder or of fear, right? Like, obviously there's always, in a place like this, there's some natural darkness to it, but there's no. You don't pick up this isn't a site of like a murder of any kind.
Oh, then I'm gonna pick up that dagger in case we find that guy and he needs the dagger.
All right.
And also the tattered scraps of cloth. I don't know how people live.
I don't know how people.
Yeah.
So this is a situation that if there was like a lot of value in what you had picked up, I would add to the treasure. But this is not, so I'm not going to add to the treasure. In case anybody at home was like, "What is that treasure?" It would be if it wasn't junk.
If you have to ask, it's not treasure.
That's true.
All right. So there are a number of doors, as I said. All of the doors are made of wood, and Cersei, you notice that none of them have metal handles.
Do they have any handle?
They do. They have wooden handles, which is weird.
We've checked out this room, and this room is A-okay?
Yeah, you don't feel that there's any danger in this room, per se.
Then I'm going to whisper all clear into my hands, and I'm going to let it go, and it's going to find its way to Lord Cavendish's ears.
Rad.
Well played.
So,
I descend lordily.
so if I've noticed that the handles are wood, that means that I probably would have an understanding of the difference between a wood handle and a metal handle.
Do you mean like mechanically?
No, like maybe indicatively.
It seems weird to you. I mean,
Okay.
It definitely stands out. Like, you know, when you build it, you build a door, and then you put a metal, lock or handle, even just if it's a latch, it's, if you're gonna put a wooden handle, that seems really weird. It also means that none of them have keyholes.
Okay.
Friend Cersei,
Yes.
are there any metal fasteners at all? Are they held fast by nails, or is this some sort of advanced joinery?
Probably some form of advanced joinery.
We need to hire this man for my bedroom door.
It is, as a sign of your wealth, Lord Cavendish, you have seen, really fine joinery and, hidden things. These doors they're not well done, but it is, this is, it's not, it's unusual in the fact that you don't see any metal, actually.
But, this is artificial, right?
Yes, this was built.
Okay, so it wasn't like there's some weird fucking tree mage growing doors or anything like that.
No, it looks like, someone put these together,
Okay, because I hate tree mages. I just wanted to make sure.
Hey, Brian.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you're side iron.
Yes.
I'm going to spend one of the darkness, which is super gonna be a thing, because I'm just gonna keep going around till I get 5.
Yep.
8, 2, 3, 1, 4, 5. Why do you hate, let's do a real quick flashback scene about why you hate, tree mages.
Tree mages. So, in Ilvan society, usually, elves live around forests and sort of wooded areas and things like that, so that they can feel connected with, more connected with nature of the elves of yore.
Yes.
And so sometimes you get some tree mages, and tree mages are pretty well renowned because they're thought to have more pure elf blood. They're thought to be more connected with nature.
Oh, so tree mages are like a type of They're like an elf thing.
Yeah. Like, I'm sure there's human tree mages, but that just seems weird.
Right.
Right? Like, there's a little bit of cultural appropriation going on there.
A treeaboo, if you will.
Oh no.
Perfect.
And the reason that I hate tree mages is because societally they're pretentious and awful.
Okay. So as a side note, what I was doing there mechanically was one of the things you can do with darkness is you can create things that can create problems in the future, right? So I spent one there to be like, obviously, Yurt Side'iron has an issue with these, wannabe elf, wood mages. So maybe there's a situation that comes up now or comes up in the future. You as players also have the ability to do the same thing. Except when you do it, it adds to the darkness, as we talked about earlier. So you can add something to the darkness to create and establish something. All right. Yeah. So Yurt is complaining about, muttering about tree mages as you're looking at these wooden doors, of which there are 5.
Well, that is. I suppose we should attempt to open the first.
I always like that question. Let's open the first door. What do you mean by that?
Wow.
They're in a circle.
The 1 o'clock door.
The doors of 1,000 faces.
We could open the one on the west wall because there's only one of those.
There is only one on the west wall. That is true.
Clever ploy, Cersei.
Are you opening that door, Cersei?
Yeah.
You doing anything special, or are you just opening the door?
I'm going to cautiously open the door.
All right, give me a boots roll. So you are the D6.
I am the D6.
You are a hunter, so, being cautious in your advance is something you can do. So we need a 1, a 3, a 4, or 5, and you rolled a 5. So you are very cautious. You don't make any noise as you open the door. The door opens into the room. And as you are thinking about it, you probably think all of these doors open into the rooms because there's not really enough room in the hallway.
So I open the door and it swings in instead of out.
It pushes in instead of out because there isn't enough room in the hallway for the doorway.
Yep.
Inside this large chamber are several barrels. The southwest corner of the room appears to have collapsed, leaving a pile of rubble and revealing a dark cave entrance. Voices can be heard in the distance.
Okay.
Can I eavesdrop on them?
Well, Cersei's in the way.
I've got my sound magics, and I was thinking about letting their voices find their way to me.
Would you like to spend a crown to amplify the sound so that you can hear distant murmuring on the wind?
Yeah, but just us. I don't want it to be very loud to everyone.
Oh no, I'm assuming that you're you're gonna listen to the whispers on the wind.
Yeah.
You take out a seashell, right?
Yeah. Yes, I would love to spend a crown to do that.
Okay, so you're gonna spend a crown, and you have 2 crowns, right?
I do.
I should probably write that down for y'all.
I'm keeping track of it over here.
Great. You hear some harsh guttural speaking with a very specific cadence that you've come to recognize as goblins. In fact, not just goblins, but these more citified goblins that live on the outskirts of the mountains here.
Sure.
And they are arguing about who's going to get how should they split up all of this loot?
Oh, all of this loot.
How are they going to split up this LUTE? They have
Yes.
one. They only have one guitar. No.
Solomon's choice.
Loot.
Yeah. So it sounds like I'm gonna turn to the capable members of the party, and I'm going very specifically not you. And I'm gonna like you can fight, but it's like you're a trained fighter, right? Like you don't expect people to fight dirty and all that stuff.
Well, one of the things that's interesting is Lord Cavendish is a paragon, so he's a D4. So when he's normally fighting, the only thing he can roll to actually make that is a 4, because blades is 4, 5, 6, or 7. But he does have a dope magic sword, which would mean that whenever he is attacking with it, he's probably going to roll 2 dice.
Yeah.
And there's also the opportunity that we don't actually know what the sword does yet. So his class is noble. So if you are fighting a duel, or something like that, or a soldierly activity, the 1 would also work. Right. So it's actually a very interesting.
Yeah.
But you are correct.
Pick up some grievances. That way I can duel them.
Yeah. When it comes to like a bar fight, like we're about to get into with these goblins, I'm gonna turn to the capable members of the party and I'm gonna be like, "Hey, it sounds like they stole some stuff. Maybe off of that dude. Who could know? But there are definitely goblins down there."
Well, perhaps we should shut this door and open the other doors.
They did say that they had stuff, though.
Cersei, do you close the door?
I do.
Okay.
Does that count as retreating?
Yeah.
They weren't anywhere near us. They were in a cave at the other side of the room.
It definitely isn't about creating. It's not about provoking a fight. Yeah, no, I think it's good.
Okay.
I think it's good.
All right.
You had set out to say, let's look at all of these rooms before we make any choices.
I did.
All right. Next room, then.
Which direction around the circle are we going?
North.
To the north.
Oh, hey, Noxon.
Yeah.
How good are your skeletons at, like, yelling?
Well, they don't have vocal cords.
Okay.
They can rattle
Unless we make them.
very energetically.
Yeah, do we just want to, like, put a skeleton at each door in case anything happens, and then they can, like, do a clatter?
Sure. I will walk over to the door that we just shut, and I'll put my foot down near it, and another skeleton will slide off my foot, and will form into. I think this one. I don't want these all to be animal skeletons. That's a bit grim.
I assumed they were all humans. It's just that you had a gauntlet that was a monkey skeleton, which is just.
Yeah. I think that's fair. This is a more humanoid skeleton, but it's not the complete skeleton. It's just like the head and part of the torso, just enough to keep an eye on things.
Right. Like it 2 legs, two legs, a shoulder blade, like 6 ribs.
Yeah.
I'm super into this visual. I'm into this visual of like, it's just like...
Maybe like instead of 2 legs, 1 leg and 1 arm, and it's got another bone in its hand that it can like hit itself with if it needs to.
That sounds good for us.
So from like a rules perspective, I think there's something really interesting going on here, which is, it seems like everything that you're doing, because you are the necromancer, your powers are magical, right? Mm-hmm. But this isn't causing you to spend your crowns to do magic, because you have an edge that is these skeletons are your retainers, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's just really neat. And since you're a D10, when the skeletons are doing things, you're always going to roll the D10. So the idea that you have a lot of them and that they're armored makes a lot of sense, and I think it's a really neat idea. and they'd actually be good at combat. Not because any one of them's good, but because you have so many of them. Just it's really cool.
Yeah.
I like it. It's working out.
Nice.
So, okay. So you go to the second door. Cersei, are you opening the door?
Yeah.
This room is empty, except for a few pieces of stone rubble and some thick cobwebs hanging from the ceiling.
Spider people.
Yeah. But the room is empty.
Otherwise, it looks empty. I mean, you're from the hallway. I mean, I'm on this thing that you're opening the doors and you're looking inside. You're not actually going in the rooms. Like, you're just looking at it from there.
Yeah.
If it's empty, I'll peek inside.
You can take a walk around inside of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a quick walk around.
Okay.
Being careful so as not to disturb the spider webs.
Yeah, it does. This room seems genuinely unused. Like the last room that you looked at, even though it had like a hole in the wall, there was like barrels and there was like a bunch of stuff in it, and it seemed like things had been there. This seems like no one's been in this room for a while.
Okay. I'm gonna give the universal symbol for wrap it up, and then.
Yeah. Let's shut this door.
Alright, I put my other foot down, and another partial skeleton comes off.
Just in case there's any invisible tree mages.
Yeah.
They lignify.
For my character. Sorry, go ahead.
What was it that you said?
I said I'm getting some weird Bayonetta vibes for my character.
Oh, that seems real.
Yeah.
Instead of hair, bones.
So you go to the next door. As you get to the door, Cersei, you notice that there is a little bit of blood on the door handle.
Okay, I'm gonna convey this information, so we should all be ready.
Does it look fresh?
Probably with it's it's still a little wet, so.
Cool. That's what I needed to know.
Yeah, it does look fresh.
Look, I mean, it doesn't look like it was just there, but it's definitely, this is not old dried blood. This is.
I'm going to unsheath 2 daggers.
I'm gonna take my monkey gauntlet back.
I will have my bow at the ready, since I assume that's the weapon I have being ranged.
It could be whatever you'd like it to be,
I would like it to be a bow.
I mean, you are bristling with weapons, right? So
That's true. I've got everything.
Besides having range, you also are well armed. So you probably have like a hand axe, a couple of daggers. You have a nice sword. You have a long bow. You have a short bow. In case you're on a horse.
I'm really into the idea that out on the way here, I was like ninja stars, and you were like, "Yep," and then I was like, "Bola," and you were like, "Yep," and then I'm like, "A giant net," and you're like, "Yep."
I'm gonna take out my hand crossbow.
Oh, I'm into it.
Cool.
How are you entering the room?
I will go in first.
Okay, how are you entering the room?
As low to the ground as I can possibly get.
All right. What's everybody else's plan?
Some skeletons walk off of my body and stand next to me.
Okay.
I'm down to just some greaves and the football player, the shoulder stuff that they've got going on.
Oh yeah, like the just like the shoulder blades of like some larger person.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I've got two complete skeletons standing by.
Okay. You quickly open the door and Yurt goes in low and fast. Hey, I'm gonna need you to make a boots roll.
I will do that. Please roll me a d8.
I'm gonna roll that for you, and I'm gonna roll a 1. You are the you're the elf. So,
yep.
and you are beautiful, so I'm going to allow that you don't get completely filthy. Because as you go in low, the floor of this room is just covered in blood.
Great.
Spattered with pools of blood, and a bloody goblin lies motionless in the southeast corner. Otherwise, the room looks identical to the room with the spider webs.
Though this one was used more recently.
Yes, it was definitely. It also looks less dusty, so it actually looks like this room was actually probably used. But there is a dead goblin in the corner.
Is there anything that looks actively dangerous?
No.
Okay, then I'm just gonna go and I'm gonna grab the goblin and drag it out.
All right. So as you're doing that, Noxon, you hear one of your skeletons. You think the one at the first door.
Okay. Behind us. And I turn.
I'm so far away.
Yeah, are you in the back, Noxon, or was Cavendish behind you?
Cavendish is probably behind me?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Do you spin around?
Yeah.
Is it Spencer? Spencer. Spencer, you are the furthest one back, and as you do that, you see that there are four goblins wearing leather armor and brandishing pretty decent looking short swords. They look brand new. To your fine eye, these are definitely not something you would expect a goblin to have. Noxon, one of your skeletons could get a hit on one as it goes running by. If you would like to do so.
Yeah, the one with the one leg, it's going to stick that leg out and try to trip it.
Oh, I like it. So we're going to do...
It's gonna get down on its hands and knees, and another goblin's gonna run up and push another goblin over.
So we're gonna roll a d10, and this is an attack roll. So we're looking for a 4, 5, 6, or 7, and a 9. Okay, so the skeleton tries to use its one leg to trip the goblin, realizing it only has one leg.
Just throws itself on the ground.
No, if you looked at it, it looked like it was doing something, and then it looks down and realizes that the leg that it was using, it doesn't have. It's a really complicated physical joke that requires that you have seen this thing happen before.
Sure.
Cavendish, what do you want to do?
I draw forth my dope sword.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try to strike one of these ruffians as they are approaching me.
Okay.
They're coming at me, right?
They are.
All right.
There are 4 of them, and write a couple of quick notes here. Which I think in the future I need to figure out a way that I can write these notes and that the kids at home could see what it was. That would be a really neat thing. So the first thing that happens, Lord Cavendish, is you're gonna spend a heart.
Yep.
Right? And so you're gonna go to 3 hearts, and then you're gonna give me a attack roll. Is your dope sword in some way, enchanted in a way that this is a thing that would make it have an advantage?
I think maybe it's a dancing sword.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
And so I swing it, but it moves in a strange direction and actually is kind of floating in front of me, and I'm doing more gesture with it.
I love it. The dancing sword. All right.
Yeah.
So
his name is Slam Jam Drain.
Is it a sentient sword?
You rolled a 4 and a 2 because you had advantage. All right. So the 4 is a hit. The 4 is also a crown, right? So since it is, you're going to roll for damage. Since you did hit, but you did roll. You could spend crowns to increase the effect if you want it.
All right, I'll spend 1 crown to increase the effect.
All right. And then what we're gonna do is, we're actually gonna roll 2d4 for the effect. And what we have is we have a 3 and a 4, so you're gonna actually get an extra one. So 2, so 5, 9. Damn.
Nice.
I'm gonna look over at Spencer and be like, "That is literally the most effective I've ever seen in a combat situation."
So you actually, the sword rushes out, and it takes 3 of the 4. It takes 3 of the 4 out.
Nice.
It is crazy. There's a clattering. The remaining goblin immediately turns and runs back down the hallway, because when you're the 4th goblin and 3 of them are cut by a flying sword, you don't continue to go forward.
I'm gonna whistle and see if I can't get Creature to run over and land on him. Not in a hurdy way, but in a
Not
subdued way.
Like a big dog, bring it like a happy way almost. Like, oh, I'm excited that you're here. I happen to be a rhino.
Yeah.
That seems good.
Creature's not a fighter.
Since Creature was right with Cavendish, I think that's super on point. So you're gonna give me a boots roll for that, and it's you're the D8.
Yep.
And I'm actually gonna give you advantage because this seems like something that Creature has done before. 6 and a 6, so they're both misses.
Oh no. Creature, no.
So instead, I think he is going to land on the goblin. It's just that it's a lot more devastating than the expectation was.
Oh no.
And the goblin lets out this horrific scream. Blood curdling. That's definitely saying
the first time that this has occurred.
That we're being we're to the effect of we're being attacked. Right.
Yeah, all right. Well, it means there's more of them, so we can kill that one.
So, Cersei, you're in the...
Hold on. Before you kill it, I want to go up to the goblin.
Yeah.
Lean down. Do I have your consent to use your remains for my own purposes?
The goblin says, the pain! Anything to stop the pain! The rhino is like standing on its kneecap.
Oh. That sounds like agreeing under duress, but I'm not going to take as enthusiastic consent.
No.
So, I'm going to gently push Creature off the goblin.
Creature moves fine. The goblin, the goblin's just hanging on. It says thank you in a blubbery way, but it's like oh, the pain.
So here's the thing that I would like to do, and I've just decided in this moment that this is a character choice that I'm making, and I'm wondering if I should have a flashback.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
I don't know what's gonna happen, but I definitely want to have a flashback.
Sure.
Do. 6 is the counting of the darkness.
So, it was when I first left regular Ilvish society, and I was trying to survive out in the Northland by myself. And I came across like a semi-sentient creature, like smarter than a dog, but not quite a goblin. And I don't know what that would be.
Is it a big thing? Is it a small thing?
Like a medium, like a me-sized thing.
Like an owlbear or something like that. Like an
owlbear.
Yeah.
And
a troglodyte. That would probably be.
Yeah, maybe a troglodyte. And like we sort of had a wary pact about like if we work together it's easier to survive out here because of the harsh wilderness, etc., etc.
Like an enemy mine situation.
No, it was more like, hey, if we hunt, we bring home twice as much food. Like, if we hunt together, we bring home twice as much food.
Okay.
At one point he got wounded, and died, and it helped me realize that everyone is useful no matter how horrible and slavish they're made out to be. So I would like to flash forward, and I'm going to pull out a med kit, and I'm going to treat this goblin's broken leg.
Aww.
Okay. So we're going to spend a treasure to have the equipment that you need.
Yeah.
And that actually worked. That's fascinating. Yeah, but so you patch up this. You're patching up this goblin. He finally passes out after all of this, pain and screaming. Actually, he passes out when you come around the corner because you're holding a goblin corpse.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about
that's
that.
Covered in blood. You're like, oh, I'm here to help you. So then you drop that goblin's body to the ground and you go and you help the living one. Okay. I think that's great. Cersei, you are still at the door to the bloody room. What do you do?
Well, I figure that these goblins probably came out of cave room when we were looking at the bloody room, but I want to double check if we should be prepared for more goblins or if these were those goblins. So I want to go back to the other door and carefully, quietly open it to see if I can still hear the other goblins.
When you go back there, that door is open. That is definitely the door they came through. The door is open. Right. And when you look into that room, you see that there is the room had been dustier, and now obviously these guys came running through it out of that hole.
Yeah.
We should also really quickly go check the other two doors to make sure that we're not going to get surrounded.
Sure.
Yeah.
Are you looking in one of those rooms, Cavendish?
Do you think you can do it without dying?
Probably.
Okay.
There are two more doors. They're on the east side. Which one would you like to go to?
You said two on the east side? The northeast.
The northeast. You open the door to the northeast room. This is all of the other rooms have been long rectangles. This is a perfectly square room. And in the center against the far wall, there is a stone altar. Atop the altar, there are several candles and a clay offering plate. The offering plate is currently empty.
Put a goblin on it.
Noxon, you immediately get a whiff of night magic from it.
I'm gonna turn and sort of wander over in that direction, poke my head in, and see if I can discern any markings or identification type things that will tell me what's going on here.
I think it's an altar bowl.
Technical term.
Technically.
You would you would agree. It actually looks like it looks like a little shrine, but there's definitely something magical about it.
Is this a sacrificial altar?
It doesn't look big enough for that.
Okay.
But it looks like you would put like probably small things on the plate to sacrifice it. The plate has some scorch marks on it. Maybe you light things on fire on it. Not being an expert in goblin religion.
Well, I didn't take that edge apparently.
You know.
From you guys.
Hey, we like have a goblin who is not technically our enemy anymore.
I mean, you could, have done some research beforehand if you were to look at some of those things, or maybe you could spend some treasure because there's some things. Those are just options. Or you could just be like, it looks like an altar, that's all I really care about.
It looks like an altar, and that's all I really care about. If somebody else is more interested than I, then...
There is still one room that you have not investigated as well.
I can pop open that door.
Yeah, let's check that one out.
As you open that, this is another small square chamber. It appears empty. The floor of this room is entirely covered in dust. But there appear to be footprints leading across the room up against the wall in the southeast corner.
What kind of footprints are those? I probably know because I'm a hunter.
As a hunter, you feel very confident that those footprints match these goblins.
Okay.
Do we want to go check out that very poorly hidden secret door?
Yes.
And for the kids at home, we are talking about this area right here, which is directly opposite this area right there. Look at that. That's craziness.
I'm gonna go try and open this hidden doorway.
Like forcefully?
I don't know another way, so yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna make that. We're gonna call for a bones roll.
Sure.
You're not like, you don't have strong or any of those things, so we're just gonna straight up do it. And it's a 5. You need to roll a 5, 6, 7, 8. So you're good to go.
Unless the door cares whether or not I'm beautiful.
It doesn't. The door does not.
It's a piss poor door then.
I agree.
Oh, wait a minute. Are you doing this, or are you helping that goblin?
Oh, I assumed the goblin had passed out.
He did, but if you were gonna try to.
Oh no! I'm doing this before like. My immediate concern is that I know how goblins work, and they're gonna like pop out of 900 different holes.
Okay.
And I want to make sure that's not gonna happen to us before we get into any of this nerd shit.
When you get there, you're able to pull up. It's like a part of the wall. It is a poorly hidden secret door. You think it would actually be hard to spot if it wasn't for the fact that there's a Scooby-Doo trail.
Yeah.
Old man Withers walked through the white paint.
Goblins.
And in this small room, there are a couple of barrels of mead and a pile of coins. So this is actually treasure.
Yeah.
Treasure actually is my favorite holiday movie.